over liquidity in the system and it creates inflation. Because if you allow banks to be the one that know the movement of cash, that is the velocity of money and the amount of money, the liquidity in the system, it's possible that the banks can conspire and give themselves more money so long as they agree. Because who actually inspects the bank? It's only the bank that know what is happening, because CBN has no control over the movement of cash through e-payment and the e-transfer.
All right. Mr. Ebara, I want to thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. We'll thank you once again. Mr. Ebara is a development economist, but we would be joining our crew in Benue for the Tortives coronation. That's for our DSTV viewers. We'll continue our conversation here for those watching on terrestrial signals and UK viewers. But let's come back to you, Mr. Onibogi. He said something, and we have reactions from people who are watching he talked about a 10,000 naira limit on ATM withdrawals. I have experienced that. You go to some bank ATM machines, they tell you can't withdraw more than 10,000 naira, depending on the denomination. I mean, the denomination they have there, the notes there, because they expect you to take like 20. But then some banks actually say you can't withdraw more than 10,000 naira on these ATM machines. So what he's saying is in order. Yeah. Some other banks don't have that kind of restriction and also. But the things he's pointed out so far, what's your take on all of this?
The cashless policy, the way I look at it is, it's very good, but I don't think the country is ripe for it. And what I say is very good is it has a lot of benefits, but Nigeria as an entity, we are not ripe. He made mention of several things, including connectivity, which is very key. It's not even the issue of electricity, connectivity. In Nigeria, we rely on connections from one medium to another. There are a lot of connectivity issues that we normally have, even in the banks, even with telephones. Everybody we do that. And you notice that because of connectivity, that's a major challenge. That's one. Then we have electricity problem. Apart from banks that probably they have inverters, more than 80% of Nigerian offices, companies, they are during the day it's like there is no light, because it's not everybody that have the financial muscle to power generator. Because in this economy we know that if you have 24 hours in the day, barely you get 1 hour of electricity supply from the discos. So naturally, for people that are running offices that depend on people to pay them, he made mention of some other things. These boys in Alaba, they will just drop things on the floor and they want you to make payments. It's very hard for you to make payments via the you swipe POS. It's very difficult, because how much are you buying? You are buying probably a cloth worth 500 naira, 1,000 naira. You come with cash, and in the long run, if 500 people buys 2,000, so that means the guy has more than 500,000. So if he's going to the bank to deposit, he's already making a loss.
Yeah.
So I think when this policy was being made, it was not, they didn't think through it properly. Because sometimes you might be making a good policy, but if the thoughts and the reflections are not holistic, it might be counterproductive.
Now let me ask you the question I asked him, which he says that's another question, and he didn't really look at it. I asked the question as in, how do we expect those, the leadership, the political class, to protect the citizens if they are exempt? The ministries, the National Assembly, the public institutions are somewhat exempt, please take note, somewhat exempt from this cashless policy. So they are not liable to pay those charges.
Well, I want to say something.
So how would they protect that man who is selling his clothes at 2,000?
The CBN governor must have done that, so that the policy will pay the political class, because it is the political class that can query him. And I'll tell you why. Yes, if the CBN governor via his director that issue the communication, if they are fair, it should be something that will affect everybody in the nation.
Yes.
Yeah, it should affect everybody.
Yes.
Because what they should do in ministries and parastatals is because they can just increase theirs to probably 50 million naira, because probably they're pushing more money, because people will come and paying VAT, paying this, paying that, and they will all pay all to the bank. Because if they are not affected one way or the other, they will not feel the pinch. But if everybody is affected, then it will be easier for people with National Assembly to go to the round table and call the governor and say, guy, please, let's review this. Because just like Yala said, in America, policies are not just made. Before you make policies, you call people that will be affected, you scan the environment, and then you discuss it locally. And then everybody will have come up with suggestions. By the time you ring fence all, anything you are throwing to the people will be something that it will be at least 80% they will feel comfortable with it. With this policy, I can tell you, more than 90% of Nigerians are not comfortable. And
Okay.
it's a policy that might not last.
Okay. Originally, it only was implemented in 6 states.
Yes.
Now it's going to be implemented in
In the
the
30 states.
rest of the 30 states. Now, the first six.
The 6 states, did it work? How effective was it?
That's
Why
why are you asking? What, please, I'm the moderator.
No, it
Thank
wasn't
you. Let
effective.
me ask my question, because that's the question I was going to ask you. I mean, in those 6 states, which are supposed to be the bigger states and the more advanced states in the country, there were there were connectivity issues, power issues. So now that it's going to the other 30, what do we expect?
Well, the other 30, they might not be as rich as the first 6, but I think what they should do is they should perfect it with the 6. Nigeria is not.
But how can you, without power, without connectivity?
It's not, that's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing. How they can perfect it is, the nation as a whole should spend more time on how we can generate electricity. Electricity is the engine room of any nation.
So when I talk about NEPA all the time, do you see?
Of any nation. I was fortunate to be in China some few years ago. In malls, when I say malls, markets, it was hot outside, but the inside was chilly, because there was electricity everywhere. I started to be corrected. In China, you have hotels that are 65, 85 floors. They all work because there's electricity. They all live, they're working. In Nigeria, woe betide you if you have any structure more than 2 floors. I bet you your lift will not work
All the time.
all the time.
You know, this conversation, we will continue because it's really biting. In those states, those 6 states that had the initial cashless thing, if you use POS, they charge you extra because you're using POS and all of that. But we'll look at that when we come back from this break. Don't go away.
Okay.